Shavua Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi Masechet Bava Metzia. We are up to Perek Bet, Mishnah Bet. Today's Mishnayot should be Le'elu Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana, Ranbai, Eliyahu ben Burcha, Israelov, Chana bad Miriam, Sason ben Rai, and Yoshua ben Shifra, Menuchatam began Eden, Amen, and Avdi ben Chaim lechaim, and the Refuah Shelemav, Daniel Shalom ben Rosa, Betor Shah Chulei Israel, and the Achlama Merav ben Amin, Or Tzion Chai ben Dvorah. This Mishnah lists items that a finder must announce and return to the owner because they have a siman. These are the found objects that a finder is obligated to announce and return. If he found a utensil with produce in it, or a utensil as is, meaning empty, a utensil in this case, a container of some kind, usually has a siman. If the utensil can be identified, the produce in it is assumed to belong to the owner of the utensil, as the Gemara says on page 25a in Masechet Metzia. Ma'od bekis or kis kemotshu, or he found a purse with money in it, or a purse as is, meaning empty. A purse also usually has a siman, and any money in it is assumed to belong to the owner of the purse. Tzibure perot, or piles of produce, in which case the location of the pile of fruits or their number is considered a siman. Since the produce is piled up and not scattered, it was certainly placed there intentionally, and its location or quantity therefore serves as its siman. Tzibure ma'ot, shosham matveot ze'an gavzeh, or piles of money, for example, 3 or more coins piled one upon the other, in which case the location of the coins or their number is considered a siman. Here too, a pile of coins is assumed to have been placed there by their owner, and their location or number serves as their siman. If there were only 2 coins, even if one was lying on top of the other, they are assumed to have fallen and are treated like the scattered coins of the previous Mishnah. Or small bundles of grain stalks which have a siman in a private area, where they are not kicked by people passing by and do not lose their siman. For example, they were found in a planted field, which few people walk through, so that their siman is not likely to be lost. V'kikarot shel balabayit, or homemade loaves of bread, literally loaves of a homeowner. Homemade loaves are made differently by each person and therefore identifiable. V'gizet tzemer lekuchot mibet ha'oman, or fleeces of processed wool taken from a craftsman's shop, where each customer's fleece is tied with a unique knot that serves as its siman. When a craftsman is given wool to process, to clean, or to dye, he ties a special knot around each person's fleece in order to be able to identify it. The owner of the wool therefore has a siman with which to claim it as his own. Kadeh yain v'kadeh shemen, or jugs of wine or jugs of oil, which, though manufactured in standard sizes, are sealed shut by their owners and marked for identification. The clay seal that closes the top of the jug was made with the mark in it to identify its owner. All these items that a finder is up, all these are items that a finder is obligated to announce and return because they have a siman and their owner does not give up hope of getting them back. And that is in a Mishnah Bet. Mishnah Gimel begins, Matzah achar agapa or achar gadol gozalot mikusharin. If someone found young pigeons tied together by their wings, it was common to tie young pigeons together by the wings to prevent them from flying away. Therefore, the fact that they were tied this way is not a siman. If he found the young pigeons tied together by their wings, standing behind a wooden fence or a stone wall, or bishvilin shebasadot, or in the paths through the fields where not many people go, he should not touch them because it's possible that the owner put them there for safekeeping and will soon return for them. It's not certain that the owner left them here intentionally because these are not completely protected places. Nevertheless, it is possible that he did so since they are somewhat protected. Since they have no siman, if he takes them, the owner will surely not be able to get them back. Therefore, it's better to leave them where they are. However, if they do have a siman, he should take them and announce his fine, since it's possible that the owner lost them and does not know where to find them. Now, in that case, we discussed something that was found in a place that's partially protected but not well protected. The Mishnah now discusses what to do when we find something in a place that is well protected. Matzah kli ba'ashpa, if he found a utensil which typically has a siman in a garbage heap. The Mishnah speaks of a garbage heap that is left in a place and not removed. Therefore, it's a good place to hide something for a while. Now, a utensil, a kli, is anything that has been formed into an object used by people, such as a dish, cup, fork, chair, lamp, etc. It stands in contrast to an unformed object, such as lump of clay, piece of wood, chunk of metal, or stone. So again, if you found a utensil which typically has a siman in a garbage heap, the law is as follows: Im mechuseh lo igabo. If the utensil is covered in the garbage heap and therefore well protected, since it's hidden from sight, he should not touch it, even if he has a siman, even if it has a siman, because its owner probably left it there for protection and will return to get it. Now, there's no obligation to take an item and return it unless it's lost. Since this utensil appears to have been left there intentionally and is completely covered and protected, it's not lost and there is no obligation to return it. Although it does have a siman and it could be taken and announced, this would make it more difficult for the owner to get it back, since he would then have to track down the finder and give a siman to prove it was his. Therefore, it's better to leave it where it is, as the Rambam discusses similar cases in Ilchot Gzela V'Aveda, chapter 15, Halacha 1. If, however, it's uncovered and therefore not protected, he must take it and announce what he found, because it surely was not placed there for protection, but must have been lost. No one deliberately leaves his possessions in an open, unprotected place. We must therefore assume that the owner lost this item on the garbage heap. Now, the Mishnah lists cases of lost items that one may keep even if they have a siman, and even if they were found in a well-protected place. Matzah bigal uvkotel yashan. If one found items buried in a pile of stones from an old wall that collapsed, or in the hole of an old wall that is still standing, and the items show sign of age, for example, they are very rusty or corroded, they are his to keep even if they have a siman. He does not have to return them to the current owner of the wall. The Mishnah refers to a wall in the land of Israel, which has been standing since the time of the original conquest of the land. Since the wall or its remaining pile of stones is ancient, and the found item itself shows signs of great age, the finder can claim that the item never belonged to the family that now owns the property, but was left there by the original Amoraim, who lived there before the land was conquered. The original Amorites, who lived there before the land was conquered. He is therefore allowed to keep it. The same is true outside the land of Israel if the wall is old enough to have been there before the land was bought by Jews. The present owner of the property cannot claim that his property acquired the item for him, kinyan chatzel, because a person's property does not acquire for him things he may never discover on his own. Matzah bekotel chadash, if however he found him in a hole in a new wall, meaning a wall known to have been built by a Jew after the conquest of the land of Israel, and this wall is now owned by the builder's descendants, that stands next to its street. If he found them in a hole in a new wall that stands next to a street, the wall is as follows. They were found in the outer half of the wall, literally from the middle of the wall and outward, on the side closer to the street, and they're his to keep, because we may assume that someone traveling in the street put them in the hole, forgot where he put them, and then gave up hope of getting them back. Here too, the Mishnah speaks of a case where the item shows signs of having been there for a very long time. Therefore, even if it had a siman, we may assume that the person who left it there has given up hope by now of ever finding it. If they were found in the inner half of the wall, they belong to the owner of the house, because we assume that he or the ancestor from whom he inherited the house is the one who left them there. The Mishnah refers to a case where the owner of the house claims that the items are his, or that it is possible that they belong to one of his ancestors from whom he inherited the house. Although the items show signs of great age, which indicates that the original owner gave up hope of finding them, they do not become ownerless. Giving up hope, Yeush, makes an item ownerless only when it's no longer in the owner's possession or the possession of his heirs. It does not affect an item that is still physically in his possession. And the Mishnah speaks of things that could have been placed on the wall from either side. We therefore look at which side they are closer to in deciding whether they were put there by the owner of the property or by a passerby in the street. However, if the find was something like a bag of coins, which is usually held by its opening and pushed into a whole bottom first, the side that the opening faces tells us where it came from, regardless of whether it's closer to the street or inside the property. And the Mishnah ends with a case where the finder may keep an item even if it was found inside a house. If the owner would regularly rent this property to others and the last renter was not a Jew, even if the items were found inside the house itself, they are the finder's to keep, because he may assume that they were left there by the last renter who was not a Jew. Each renter usually checks the house before he leaves to make sure that he did not forget anything. The finder may therefore assume that the item was lost by the last person there, who in this case was not a Jew. And that is the Rabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Everybody should have a Shavua Tov. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen.